I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. We live in a world where digital gold and physical silver, along with digital silver and physical gold, Bitcoin, crypto, all are colliding in a storm of volatility. We saw the US Mint sell out of a 250-year legacy coin in less time than it takes to brew a pot of coffee. Are we looking at squeeze, or are we looking at something called the wash shock? This is where it turns our safe haven into a high-stakes casino. Now, in this scenario, the big players win. What happens to us? So today we're joined by Hercules. You guys have seen him before. We're going to be talking some crypto. We're going to be talking stacking. So for those of you that forgot who Hercules is, shame on you. Just kidding. Hercules is a great guy. He's a stacker as well as a Bitcoin enthusiast, knows a lot about it, talks to us about why he likes it, but never pushes any agenda. It's always about helping, and you guys know that that's what my channel's about. And so I want to thank Hercules for coming here today. Hercules, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, Frosty. How you doing, buddy? Good to be here.
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. And then you guys know Tiger Stacker, my brother from another Cub mother, and he is with us. We're going to chit chat, and he's going to talk about some stuff. We have some questions that we're going to be asking Hercules. Not quite like a stack elector setup, but just one of those things where we're going to be talking. Now, all of us have a connection within the medical field, so it's just a fun thing to do. So anyway, Tiger, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here.
Morning, Frosty. How you doing? I heard you mention coffee. Did you make me some?
I did, but I did not get you Starbucks, brother.
Oh, I'm going back to bed then.
All right. So there's a whole inside thing with the Starbucks. We'll talk about that later. So the first thing I want to start with, the first thing I want to do before I start is I want to talk about this semi-quincentennial, the selling out of the two coins that came about just a couple days ago. And this was crazy. 173 and $175 respectively. The two coins that I'm talking about, let me pull those up real quick. I thought I had this tab up, but I did not. On the US Mint website, if you navigated to, we'll get this over here. If you navigated to shop, you did the American Eagle coins, you come down and you look at the sets that were here. They're not there anymore. Where are they? Oh man, the 2026 don't even show up. Where'd they go? Oh, that's really interesting.
They take them up because they're sold out?
Might be. Yeah, they're not on there. That is so strange. Anyway, there were coins. Obviously, there were silver coins like this. 2026, one had the privy on it, the Liberty Bell. And then the other one was the congratulations set, like this one, that was from Philadelphia. Again, $175 and $173 respectively. This set for the 2026 only had a mintage of 60,000. It looks like it's probably going to be the one to go to this year. It sold out fast. So as a couple days ago, excuse me, a couple days ago, I posted something that said, we are looking at this coin. It sold out faster than a cup of coffee can be brewed. And people were asking me, did you get one? And yes, I did. I got one of each, actually. And people are like, you're crazy for spending that kind of money. So why am I starting today? Why am I starting with this? Because when we're talking about the volatility in this, we're not talking about the collector. Okay, we're talking more about the person who's stacking for long term, and we're talking about the person who's using this as a form of investment or hedge, or as Hercules will say later on, insurance, right? Okay, so let me pull this up. The product schedule. Ah, there they are. Thank you, Paula. Paula's got my back. Here they are. So this is the congratulations set 2026. You can see 175. The product limit was 60,000. It's a pretty small mintage. I know that I picked up both of mine at the A&A show. Oh, awesome. Yeah, and so that's the thing, Paula. That's exactly where I'm going. So a lot of people are buying these to flip, right? Because they're already going for, $350, almost $400. And so a lot of people are like, why did you do that? Well, most people are buying it to flip. Okay. I'm keeping both. I have a feeling that in time, this is going to be one of those few, because of the semi-quincentennial, there's a historical tie to it. I think it's going to actually increase in value. If you look at the $50 commemorative series, or you look at some of the bicentennial stuff, the bicentennial, they made tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of them. But the ones that were limited, the ones that had a small number, like your commemorative $50, they are worth more money. They're actually quite a bit more money when you talk about the price in which they bought for. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. The whole premise for me to talk about this particular item is that is not what we're talking about today. So when we're talking about strategies, I want to make sure that people get that collecting and doing this is not conducive to wise investing. Okay? Paying $175 an ounce for silver it's kind of moronic sometimes. Don't stack this way. Don't invest this way. Okay? This is purely a speculative collecting move. Don't do this if you're trying to save money or you're trying to ensure your strategy for the investment. Can I get an amen, Hercules and Tiger?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The reason is because as we talk about this stuff that we go through today, a lot of people think that their collecting is their strategy. And unless you're collecting the really, really high-end items, the rarities, and I'm talking genuine rarities, or the really rare because of high-end condition, the 55 double die, the 72 double die, the 69S, the good one, not the double, the mechanical doubling. Make sure you collect those things. Don't collect common dates. Don't do those kind of things in high grade. We talked about that on Michael and Nancy's. Again, if you're going to do stuff like that, you can flip it for money. That's fine, right? And that's what Paula just said in chat. But just don't use collecting as a strategy unless you're collecting high-end items. Okay, that's just, I wanted to set that preference up front because a lot of collectors think that is my investment. If you collect a lot of high-end common date, I've heard a number of people say this. I've heard Paula say at LiveCoin Q&A, the Coin Show podcast. I've heard Matt and Mike both say this. Aaron Burke said this. Collecting high-grade common date coins is the number one mistake that numismatists make. Excuse me, I just choked myself. And so be careful doing that. Okay. If you're going to spend the money, common dates are fine. If you like them, collect them, but don't utilize that as. All right. So we're not going to be talking about the collectibles too much anymore. We may talk a little bit about it, but what I want to do is, when I said Warsh shock, Hercules, did that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Tiger, did that make sense to you?
No, I've never heard that word before.
Okay, so for those of you who are not following, in early 2026, there was a massive market disruption because somebody got nominated. And that man, Evan Warsh. And he's nominated for what? The chair of the Federal Reserve.
Be the new chair.
Yeah. And so that caused a shockwave. Now, when I wrote this, I put Warshock, and then I remembered who Warshock was, and I'm like, I think that's going to confuse some of my older audience. Because Warshock was not that guy. He was the guy on the TV show. Oh, what was that show? Welcome Back, Carter. Right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
No, that was Horseshack.
Horseshack. Yes.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is
Close. Yeah.
Horseshack. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I was like, no, I better enunciate that correctly. But I wanted to say that because, again, the financial markets took a hit. We've seen the dollar decreasing. We've seen silver and gold volatile. And I mean volatility like we've never seen before in history. You know, anywhere from 12 to 18% swings in a single day, 20% swings in a single day.
Yeah, I think I saw a 20% swing on silver the one day.
Absolutely insane, right?
Amazing.
You just don't see this kind of stuff. And there's some things to consider when you're trying to do this. And again, have a strategy. But before the chat, before we started talking, Tiger had a question, and I'll actually let him ask regarding how you look at your investing. So, Tiger, do you want to reference the question about like the technicals or whatever it is that you were wanting to ask?
Yeah, you can break this down however you want to, Hercules. We could go either technicals or financial or geopolitical, whatever you're in the mood for. But basically, I'm trying to figure out what parameters you prefer to look into when you look at your analysis. Something like maybe the daily, 20-day, 50-day, 200-day, or different types of charts. Or you go with financial statements, bank statements, COMEX, LBMA, or whether you're looking at geopolitical things such as China, India. What do you go into to make your estimations of where things are going to go, not only in the metals, but since you're uh, more successful with Bitcoin than I've ever been, that market, however you want to break down that question, I think everybody's kind of interested.
Well, being in the medical field, I'm data driven, so I like all the data. I
Amen,
use
brother.
everything, and I look for consensus between things. So if I'm looking at a technical chart and I'm looking at a pattern, I'm looking at the 200-day moving average, whatever technical reference you want to look at, and that chart, however you deem it, starts looking bearish or looking bullish in the long term. I like to, number one, I like to look at long-term charts. I rarely do daily. I'll do daily charts just for the fun of it, but I'm usually looking at monthly charts because I'm looking at long-term trends. I'm a long-term guy. I'm not really interested in the noise. For instance, right now, Bitcoin is kind of plunging into a bear market. And Bitcoin is very cyclical in this. If you look back at the technicals on Bitcoin, you don't happen to have a trading view that you can pop up, do you, Frosty?
What do you want me to pull up?
Can you pull up the charts on Trading View?
I have bar chart. I can do bar chart. I don't know if I can do.
That's okay. Maybe next time I'll bring some charts with me and stuff. But
is it the TC 200? I don't have that.
Okay. But yeah, so if you look at the charts on the technicals on Bitcoin, you'll see that it's very cyclical. It basically runs in a 4-year cycle where it'll go through a bull market, go to a blow off top, and then commence into a bear market. And if you look at the timing, it's almost identical in the last 4 cycles. Part of that's due to the liquidity cycles. Part of it's also due to the fact that the Bitcoin goes through a halving cycle, which I think we talked about in the last podcast.
We did.
Right? Yeah. But anyway, so those charts are very helpful. But I don't just rely on technical. I also rely on the macro, what's going on in the world, the geopolitical. What if I'm looking at equities? I'm of course looking at the company. I'm looking at its balance sheet. So I look at every piece of data I can find, and then as you correlate the data, you kind of break it into a bull bear column. Is this bullish or is this bearish? Is this bullish or this bearish? Technicals, do they line up bullish, bearish? Does the macroeconomics for that company or that asset line up bullish or bearish? So I don't really look at any one thing more than the other. I look at them all, and I would say they all have equal weight with what I decide. That makes sense.
It does to me. Tiger, you have any questions?
It does. I'm still learning how to look at these charts and determine what's going on.
Oh, if you want to go in more technicals, we can do that for sure. What you'll learn with charting is that when you look at a chart, it's basically just trying to show you it's a trend, right? You're looking for trends. You're looking at trends and you're looking at behavior, human behavior. So it really doesn't matter if they're trading dog poo. The charts will behave the same way because humans tend to behave the same way with anything of value. So when you're looking at technicals, that's a whole separate thing. The technical people will tell you they don't even look at the news. They could care less. They just go by the charts. They look for patterns, they look for cycles, and that's it. They'll tell you everybody will lie to you but the charts. And that's in a way true, but it's all facilitated in the background by what's going on geopolitically and financially, liquidity, and all these other things. So I'm not a pure technical guy, and I'm not a pure uh, uh, fundamental guy. I use them both. But on the charts, what I like to do is I like to use the the averages, moving averages. The simplest thing on charts. I don't know where you want to start with this because I don't know how versed you are reading them. But the first basic thing you got to do is just recognize the trend. Are you making higher lows and higher highs? Or are you making lower lows and lower highs? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you got to do. And
So
you
real
want to
quick,
look.
not to interrupt you, I've pulled it
Yes.
up on my screen so you can see it on the YouTube side. If you have it up, you can walk me through exactly what you want me to see, and I can click on the items for the viewers.
Let me see.
I have that
YouTube.
trading view up.
Let me see if I can get the YouTube up. Hold on one sec.
Take your time, no worries. So while you're doing that, let's say hi to everybody in chat. First off, Eric Beyer and Kraken Travis, thank you so much. We had 5 gifted memberships, and then we had Kraken Travis with the $5 super chat. The Wizards of Knowledge to know about coins. Thank you so much. Frostbyte Paula, Hercules, and Tiger Stacker. He called us all out. So thank you so much for that, Kraken. Hope you're doing well, brother. Gopher Pedro's in the house. What's going on, Pedro? How you doing? Azure, what's going on, brother? Nice to see you. Hope you were doing well.
Number one reason, not about.
I hate those startup ads. Whenever you click a video, it drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger just gifted 5 memberships. Outstanding. Nemo Numismatics, Silver Shocker, Tizzy Dell, Gilbert Chandler. Congratulations all on that. That was nice. Thanks, Tiger. Appreciate you.
And March also.
And
Okay.
I didn't see that one. That's weird.
I got this up here.
Okay, cool. So walk me through and tell me where you want me to go, and then that way they can see it as well.
Yeah. This is a real basic chart, but it'll at least give you the idea of just recognizing the trend. So we're looking at this chart here, and this is let me take a look. What are we on here?
So you want me to click on technicals?
Yeah, I don't know this system too well, but go ahead, try. Let me see what that looks like.
The oscillators, moving averages.
I'm going to delay here, so I'm just waiting for it to pop up on
Oh,
YouTube.
sorry. Yeah, I know that's kind of tough. I know we don't have to get too far into this. I don't want to get too deep into the mire. Just a quick overview is probably good.
Okay, yeah, let's go back to the chart. Let's just do a quick overview.
Okay,
Um,
there we go.
so basically, yeah, first thing you do is you try to notice a trend, and then you want to look at the time frame. So what time frame do you have up right now?
Let me zoom out a little bit and see. So it's let's go year to date. All right, let's do 5 years. Let's do 5 years. 5 years gives a better opportunity for trending. So
Right.
see if I can do. I'm going to have to excuse the screen, folks. I'm going to have to change something. Share this. So let me share. Here, now you can just look at the screen instead of.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Okay. So let me make that big, and now you should have a better view. There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay, so that's your year to date. Yes,
No, this is 5 years.
5 years. Okay, so let's go. If you take a look at, well, let's just go from 2024. Okay, you see where your arrow is? I mean, right at 2024 there,
Yep, got it.
September, October. All right, so you just start looking. Okay, you come up, you make a high, you come down a little bit, you make a low. Your next high, of course, is a little higher, right? Your next low is a higher low. So you're in an uptrend, right? You recognize the uptrend. So we were in an uptrend till we hit a peak at around September, October. See the peak there?
Mm-hmm.
And now we are in a downtrend.
Okay.
So we see the downtrend, right? We came down, we made a low, we had a little bounce, but we made a lower high right there. Boom. And then we dropped to another lower low. So we were in a downtrend on this time frame. And you look at this trend and you say, okay, well, this is bearish, right? We are in a downtrend, and until something shows me otherwise, I have to assume we're going to continue the downtrend.
Right.
And so that's the first thing you want to do when you're looking at a chart is notice the trend. Then once you know and identify the trend and the time frame, then you can start using your indicators like your moving averages. I like to use the 21, the 50, the 100, and the 200. And what you do with those is those tend to be places where decisions are made. In other words, if you see a trend, an uptrend, for instance, and you have a 21-day moving average, and all of a sudden you're so far removed from that 21-day moving average, like you're very high above it, you got to start thinking that there's going to be a correction soon, right? Because that is an average. So that average has to catch up or the chart has to come down to the average. And if you look over time, what you'll see, I wish we could pull a 21 on here or something.
I'm going to go pull up bar chart because I'm more familiar with that, and I know that you can overlay the 20-day, 50-day, 100-day
Yeah, just
moving
any
averages.
moving average, just so we can look and you can see the behavior of the charts. But what you'll find is the chart, the moving averages become almost like a magnet for the price. And so when any price gets overextended, either below or above a moving average, you start thinking we're getting a little overstretched one way or the other, and the price is either going to start going sideways to allow the moving average to catch up, or it's going to come down to meet the moving average. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an average, right? Over time, it is going to be an average, and it's going to it can't get too overextended one way or the other because the price will have to like I said, either go sideways or come down. So when you look at moving averages and you look at trends, you can start feeling like, okay, this is a little bearish or this is a little bullish. And then that goes into my category of bearish or bullish. And then I start looking at the macro. What's happening with liquidity? What's happening with the Fed? Is there a lot of liquidity? There's a lot of liquidity, then that's bullish for almost everything. If money's being printed, if there's money on the table, it's going to flow everywhere into every asset. If the monetary policy's tight, it's bearish.
So
right?
what I've done here is I have pulled up the chart. You can see that there. This is Bitcoin with a 100 and 200 day moving average. So you get an idea of what the near term is doing, but you get a better idea of what the long term. And in both cases, you see that downturn, right? That indicates bear.
Yep.
And so what you'll have is down here. Do you see this little thing here? So you have this pole and this little downward trend. And then here again, you kind of have that same thing here. This right here, if I'm not mistaken, the technical term for it is a bearish flag, right? It's the one where it comes down, it bounces, and then it bounces down, it bounces down. It makes like 3 downward V's. That's the bearish flag. And it matches the moving averages. And then if you look at, and this is something that I've learned from Azure, which is looking at the volumes of sells versus buys, you can see the volumes of sells is high in relation to buys. And so that also helps indicate. So looking at a multitude of these things is going to help you make the decision. Now, you've done the technical work. Now you go to the financials. So what do you look at for the financial piece of it?
Well, for me, I'm a big macro guy. I look at things pretty simplistically these days because I look at my investments in buckets where I have equities and I have commodities, gold and silver, and I have my Bitcoin, which is really also a commodity, but because it's still right now, Bitcoin in the markets is looked at as a speculative asset, risk on. The reality is it's a risk off asset. It is the only asset that has no counterparty risk at all. But that's not understood by the masses yet. So it's treated as a risk asset. So right now I have to look at it as a risk asset. Right? That makes sense?
It does.
Because people don't know what it is. Gold is not looked at as a risk asset. It looks at a risk. When things are risky, it is a safe haven, right? It is a place where people go when they're scared and things are not doing well. When there's lots of liquidity and everybody's happy and things look good, money flows all into equities, right? People are taking risks on everything, tech, whatever. This business that just started, AI, all those things, they're considered risk on because they're risky. Nobody knows. There's no history behind them yet. And we're not sure where any of this is going. And Bitcoin is in that category at the moment, so it acts like a risk on asset. However, if you study and understand Bitcoin and you realize that it's actually the only thing that you can own that no one can take from you, and that you're never at counterparty risk, and you can transfer it peer to peer without any fear of confiscation, it is actually the most riskless asset. There's no risk at all to it.
Hey, Herc, I want to interrupt you again.
Yes.
Did you hear about the app that you can transfer without a Wi-Fi connection and without internet?
Yes.
They've
been doing that for actually years. They were able to. You're able to transfer Bitcoin with an old what are those
ham radio?
Yeah, an old ham radio.
Yep,
Absolutely.
I was telling Tiger about that. He's like, "You're kidding me," and I'm like, "No,
we've known that for forever."
Yeah, but here's the thing, folks, and I want to reiterate to people, Herc, you're a stacker. You have silver, gold. You believe in it. You're not anti-metals.
No.
So what we're talking about when we're talking about this, folks, and again, I want to reiterate this. First off, I've got to do this. Okay, I'll do it towards the end as well. if you're enjoying the conversation and you're finding any benefit from this, do me a favor. 2 people in your network, I don't care who they are, share it with them. Have them join the conversation. This is information meant to benefit and help the general public. You may not like Bitcoin. That's fine. It's not a big deal. We're not telling you that you have to do it. We get nothing from this other than conversation. So share it out with 2 people. Okay. We really want to grow the channel. We really want to grow the network. But what we really want to do across, whether it's stacking, collecting, crypto, coins, collectibles, errors, varieties, whatever, it's to share truth and information, make sure you have enough information to make good and accurate assessments of. So please share it out and let's grow the channel. Okay. Hey, what's up, Coach? Good to see you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Hercules, but again, it's important that people understand you're a stacker. And you're just
I am
you're bullish.
like you said in the beginning, I'm a guy who likes to have insurance. You could call it a hedger, I guess. The way I look at the world at the moment, I see a world where people's eyes are opening to the fact that they do not trust governments. They do not trust big banking. I feel like we're going into a era where instead of becoming more centralized, we're going to become more decentralized. And I think most of your audience knows that the fiat system is doomed one way or the other. It cannot last. I use an analogy that's not a perfect analogy, but what I like to, and maybe it'll hit home for some people. If you want to think of for me, the economy is like, think of a checkerboard, right? And the checkers on the board are the liquidity. That's the money that moves around the markets that has to keep the whole machine running.
Right.
Right. In the middle of that checkerboard is a giant black hole of debt. And what happens is we're in a state where you could take every checker piece on the board and throw it in that black hole, and it will not fill the debt. So what happens? That means, okay, we go through a series of a little bit of financial tightening that we've just gone through, right? Interest rates went up. We tried to soak up a little liquidity, slow inflation down. So basically, we took some of the checker pieces off of the board. The liquidity went down. We threw those checker pieces into the black hole, see if we could fill that black hole up a little bit. Doesn't touch it. And then what happens is the more you take those checker pieces off, the slower the economy gets. The liquidity's down. The money is not moving. So that sooner or later can freeze up the game, which is called a recession. So they have to put more checker pieces on the board. That's money printing. And to do that, that makes the black hole even bigger. So there is no winning the fiat game. You're never going to fill the black hole without printing more money, which makes that black hole bigger.
Which is true. Yeah. But again, right, we can't let them take our fiat away. and when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the physical opportunity to use our own cash, because that forces us into removing one option that we have away. But yeah, I absolutely understand that you need to be able to use your money.
Ultimately, it isn't that they're going to take it away. It's just going to make the checker pieces more and more worthless.
Yeah.
So that nobody's even going to want to use them.
Well, but there are some states. But there are some states that are trying to actually push legislation that says that stores are required to take cash because people just don't want to take it anymore, right? And Tiger talked about that. He's talked.
Correct. You definitely need something that you can do a peer-to-peer transaction with. Otherwise, you're looking at a central bank digital currency, which is what they really would like to put on us.
If I may throw a plug in, if it's okay for a second. I've actually done 3 videos on it this week, and I've got a live stream later today to discuss everything. So anybody who wants to talk about this, please come to the chat later.
So let's just address a couple of things in chat real quick. So let's say the fiat system collapses. Now, we're not talking about the fiat system collapsing like next week, next month, next year. It's going to take time. Absolutely. And we're not trying to predict it. Again, it's planning, right? And
It's
so
insurance because it may take 20 years and it might happen next week.
exactly.
If it happened next week and you don't have a plan, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's all this is, right? Strategy. Put your
Yes,
strategies
all
together.
strategies. Yes.
Really, it is. Now, I'm going to get to something else that we talked about at the very beginning, right before Tiger came up. But I want to address two more things. Coach's Magic. Did Wall Street already find a way to take over Bitcoin? I'm not sure what you're referencing in that statement, or if it's just a question. You have a question mark on there, but I don't know if you're referencing something that you've heard. So give me a little bit more context so that I can clearly help answer that. But Kevin Rose, cash will never go away. There will always be something. I want to correct the term cash, right? Lynette Zhang talks about that. It's currency, not cash. Okay. I know it sounds differently, but currency is it's a promissory note, right? So that's
True.
what they're referencing. It's so again, language matters. I talked about this the other night on Michael and Nancy's. So currency is what we're talking about, not cash, currency. And cash can come in the form of silver or gold, right? Because that's what we call real money, right? And so when you're talking to people who are pro Bitcoin or talking about the investment based, remember there's a division between currency, because there's a currency market, and then there's a cash market, precious metals and stuff like that, commodities market. So make sure we understand we're talking the differences. I'm not saying this for your benefit, Kevin. I'm saying this for the benefit of others who may not catch that. But now that we've set that precedent, no, organized society will not always accept money. There are places that will not, and that's part of what Tiger's videos were addressing. We've seen a number of people reply back, said that there's places where you cannot use money. We've got a store here, just a few miles from my house. It is nothing but one or two people manning banks of scan your own product. Unless there's a couple banks that they had to recently change, and they allow you to accept cash now. But most of them were just cards. They didn't allow you to use that, and states are saying you cannot tell people they cannot use cash. And there's tons of legislation on about this. It's something. And Tiger,
it's a battle that's happening right now. There are factions that want a digital cash central bank currency, so they can track every movement you make, every purchase you make. Shut it down when they want. It's total control. Central banking digital currency will be the nail in the coffin for the worst dystopia you could imagine. And there are factions that is what they want.
But it's very clear that you say a faction, and I don't mean, I don't want to get political by any means. Okay.
No, it doesn't matter political. It's just there are people that they think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And they're pushing that agenda. And that agenda is a nightmare.
Yeah. And we see this.
Yes, you will lose all sovereignty. You will have total, it'll be a game over. If they have a banking digital currency that is controlled by a central organization that can shut off your payment anytime they want, well, then it's a matter of what are they going to shut it off for? Well, they can shut it off for whatever they want. I mean, they're arresting people in England right now for, things they post on Twitter or Facebook that they deem offensive. They're arresting them. Imagine if they have digital cash.
Yeah.
If you have digital cash, you put up a meme they don't like, they could be like, well, you can't use your cash for 1 week or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and that's what people fear. And again, so my guest is Hercules. It uses this for investment strategy purposes. It's basically an insurance, right? And we talked about this at the very beginning. I just want to reorient people that are coming into the stream. And then Tiger Stackers, my partner in crime for a thing called Stack Elector. The conversation that we're having right now, as Tiger said, he's done 3 videos on it. We've talked about this a lot between him and I. It was something that we needed to discuss. But go check out those videos. Tiger, you're more than welcome if you want to throw the links in there, or one of the other channel moderators can do that. I'd appreciate it. He takes this from two different standpoints. He takes this from the standpoint of the bill itself that's going through, and we've seen those in a couple different states. And he's talked about one that's going on in Hawaii. That's the one with King Kamehameha with his hand out and he's holding U.S. bills. It's because they want to make sure that they can spend cash in their areas. So there's a number of those things that people are trying to fight.
Yes.
What we want to make sure people understand is we're not the other side of that, which he's talking about, the factioning system that is promoting Bitcoin for the sole purpose of, world domination. There are some people that
not
would use to
Bitcoin.
manipulate
Bitcoin
it.
let me correct you on that. Bitcoin is not part of the world domination. Bitcoin is the anti, because a central banking digital currency is controlled by entities that can halt the payment. They can
Right.
freeze your account. That's what Bitcoin fixes. Bitcoin is the only thing that they can't control, because they cannot increase or decrease the supply. They could with a central bank digital currency, and they cannot halt a transaction between peers.
Right.
So Bitcoin is the antithesis of CBDC. That is the insurance I take against that, because if they are to, let's say, worst case scenario, you get a group of people who decide they want total control, right? And they make a central banking digital currency, and they go through and they try to confiscate all the silver and gold and outlaw cash. What are you going to do? Sounds like a far off scenario, but it's a scenario. What would you do?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of things on the internet from people that do a lot of their own research on Bitcoin that show different things where Bitcoin might actually be owned by a portion of the government.
It doesn't matter how many people own Bitcoin. Owning it does nothing, because it's a proof of work system, not a proof of stake system. In other words, if there's 21 million Bitcoin, that's all there ever be. So that takes away the money printing. No one can print anymore. Okay.
hmm
The second factor you worry about with control is someone stopping the payment, right? Being able to halt the payment. You can't halt a Bitcoin payment. There is no control over that, because it's run by hundreds of thousands of nodes, which I have one sitting right next to me right now in my room, throughout the world. There is no one server that they can say, oh, can't do that. It's decentralized, not controlled by anybody. It's a software program that runs. It was started and it runs by itself. It can't be edited unless all of the nodes accept the new program, meaning including me. So nothing can be changed unless there's consensus with all the people who will run the nodes, and anyone can run a node. You can run it on a laptop or any $500 worth of computer, and you can run a node. So it doesn't matter how much one entity owns of Bitcoin. They still have no control over the network.
Can you, for those of us who aren't that techie, what is a node?
Simply a node, like let's take something like let's go boomer so we can make it easy. When you use Facebook, right?
I don't use Facebook.
Okay. What do you use? Do you use any kind of
No, I'm
tech?
pretty much only do YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. When you do YouTube and you put your stuff on YouTube, you don't own any of that.
Okay.
That is held on a centralized server owned by YouTube, which means your video can be taken off, shut down by them whenever they want,
Okay.
because your videos are only sent out from their server through the internet.
Okay.
Correct? That's called centralized servers. A node means that every computer runs the program and holds every transaction that was done on Bitcoin so that it is everywhere. It's not just in one server and wherever YouTube's office is, where the servers are. It's not just there. It is everywhere in the world. So someone could come in, shut my computer down, Bitcoin still runs. If someone wanted to shut YouTube down, all they would need to do is go to YouTube, the owners of YouTube, and say, shut down your servers. And YouTube is shut down. It's over.
And it's almost a mathematical impossibility to shut down every node at the same time.
It's impossible to shut down every node. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Because as soon as
So,
you shut down a
yeah.
node, someone can spin it back
Someone
up
else will
again.
pop it back up. Yeah, but I always use the word improbable because impossibilities are just, they haven't been realized yet. But it's near impossible, right? It's just
Let's
the
put
number
this way.
is
Most. It's there's nothing better. There's
yeah.
no other
The
way
number's
to secure
nuts.
to decentralization than what we're
Yeah.
doing with Bitcoin.
And when you're talking about security of it, it's not, 7 characters on a keyboard. It's 14 words, right?
It's
So
it can be up to 21 words that are cryptographically almost impossible. Right now, like even
up
with
to
the
21.
quantum risk,
Okay.
it's impossible for it to be decrypted. It's the same decryption that's used by NSA.
Yeah.
It's
So
the same cryptography that's used SHA-256. It's same thing that nuclear codes are secured by.
let's real quickly, and I want to get away from the technicals because that's not really
Yeah, that gets a
what
little.
we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
The difference between a node and all the places where things get hacked, which is the what do they call those things where people are buying it, like Coinbase
Exchanges.
and exchanges. Thank you.
Yes.
So explain the difference between a node and an exchange.
Okay, well, an exchange, you don't own your Bitcoin. All you're doing is you're going into their server, signing into your account, saying, hey, buy me some Bitcoin. They say, okay. And they give you a little note saying you now own 2 Bitcoin. But if you don't take that Bitcoin and put it into cold storage, in other words, take it away from them and you take ownership of it, it's actually the exchange that is holding your Bitcoin. Just like if you do gold, right? If you go to an exchange and buy an ETF, you don't have gold. You have an IOU for gold.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Tiger?
Yeah. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. If you just have your Bitcoin on an exchange, now you have counterparty risk because that exchange has to give you your Bitcoin when you want it. But the beauty of Bitcoin is there's no reason to hold it on an exchange.
Yeah.
Because as with gold, it's a little, you have to find security and getting it back and forth. With Bitcoin, it's a very simple procedure. You could put it on your phone. It's not even on your phone. You just have to have your 24 words or 12 words that control the Bitcoin secured either in your mind or in a safe or dug in the ground, whatever, just 12 to 24 words. And you have access to your money at all times and no one else does.
And I know one of the things about stacking is, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And this is the
Correct.
importance of having cold storage.
Yes.
Right? You need to be in
if you don't hold
possession
it,
of
you
that.
don't have
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You're just
So
have an IOU.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that you are in possession of that. You have to have that cold locker. Is that what they call it?
Well, they call it cold storage, but the reality is all you're doing is when you set up a Bitcoin wallet, that wallet will have what's called a key phrase. It's called key, which is your 12 to 24 words. Once you have those 12 to 24 words, you have secured your Bitcoin. Now, all cold storage is a device that holds those 12 to 24 words so that when you go to transact and it asks for them, it puts it in there for you so you don't have to recall and type out 12 to 24 words. But the reality is if you can memorize 12 words, you can secure your Bitcoin and it's over.
Yep. So let's go through a couple questions real quick. Neil Kratz, Bitcoin depends on electricity. We talked about that. No, it's not. You can use a ham radio to transfer it. It's not
Well, he's saying
reliant.
electricity. He's saying electricity. So yes,
Well, okay.
it does. It does rely on electricity, as does everything else in the world.
Oh, I'm thinking internet. Sorry, I said the
Yeah.
wrong thing.
So
You're right.
he is correct. If the grid gets shut down, you're right. Then Bitcoin doesn't work until the grid goes back up. But at that point, I think you're more worried about water and bullets than anything else.
Yeah. We're in a really bad way.
Because if the grid goes down,
Yeah.
your fridge is down, you have no food. After 7 to 12 days, you have no food, you have no water, you have nothing. So, okay, yeah, that scenario is a possibility, but I also have a plan for that. I do own guns and I do have lots of water.
Yeah. And so I'm going to go through a couple of these really quickly. I want to get back onto what the primary discussion was. It's been a great discussion, Tiger. That was a great series of questions. I appreciate it. Hercules, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, sorry we went off on a tangent there.
It is okay.
I'm glad you went into that.
Yeah, this is education. So while we're trying to talk about certain things, we do the same thing with Paula and Eric when we talk coins. We have such a hard time staying on topic. It's okay. It doesn't matter. We have good conversation. That's what matters. Conversation is what's going to get you through. But I want to address a couple of questions here. My security is physical metals, John Goldsworthy, but then goes on to ask, what happens if you accidentally lost the key? Don't do that.
If you lost the key to your Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose it.
You lose it. So yeah, you've got to, again, strategy. So, but James Daniel says the AI, the probability of hacking passwords has increased immensely. This is actually one of the security reasons why Bitcoin is better than your local bank. It's amazing how quickly you can hack a 7-digit password, but it's when you don't know how many words or how many letters in those words are being utilized, it really becomes a mathematical improbability to be able to hack it. People need to get smarter on their passwords. Quit using password 123 or QWERTY 1234 as your password. Don't do that kind of stuff. You know, people think that a special password is adding an exclamation point to the end of that. That's not secure. You have to come up with things that specifically mean something to only you. And something that's not tied to a birthday or something of that nature. So when you're securing your stuff, and I've talked about this in another video, if I can have somebody go grab my OPSEC video and drop that link in chat, security in of itself matters. It doesn't matter what asset it is. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about the physical precious metal lead and the things associated with that, or if we're talking about safes, securement there on-site or off-site. You guys know for my security purposes, I do off-site. I have a place that I store that. A lot of people can't stand that are stackers. But for the sanctity of my family, I show my face. People know who I am. I don't store that stuff at the house. I do it off-site because I don't want to tempt anybody to coming into my home. So whenever, doesn't matter what it is that you're utilizing, you have to make sure that you have strategies of protection in place to not lose your key, to make sure that you have good, strong passwords. This is OPSEC, Operation Security, and everybody listening to go watch that video because, again, it's something that everybody needs to be aware of.
And just real quick, just to add on, because he had said about losing your key, it's no different than forgetting your safe combination. Like,
that's going to cost you a bunch of money to have somebody crack your safe.
Correct.
Don't do that.
Right. It's like, if you want to be a sovereign person who takes control of their own finances, which I think is inevitably the best practice, you have to take some accountability to have your shit together and know how to secure things. Take the time to learn that. Otherwise, you are leaving it up to someone else, which is fine in a perfect world. But if that someone else decides to screw you over, you're screwed.
Wow.
correct?
Invisible. Yeah.
I mean, we all sit here and we just believe that the banks are benevolent. I tell you right now, if the shit hits the fan, you go in there and you go to grab, let's say you're holding 200 grand in the bank. Good luck. They don't have it. Not there anyway. They've already invested that. They don't hold banks. Look at the repo market at night. How many banks have to get money loaned to them just to pay out accounts that want a couple $100 a day? That's why if a bank run hits, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just what we're talking about here, and I wanted to use this as a transition into the final 30 minutes. Remember that immediately following this live stream is Coin Show Podcast. Coin Show Podcast is going to be going live. And I believe that this will take, I'm going to verify that right now. I believe that this stream will take you directly to that. Well, let me double check that to make sure. But the last thing that I want to talk about, and I want to urge caution with this portion of it, and this is the last piece that Tiger asked about, was the geopolitical situation. And there's been a couple people that have mentioned these things in chat. Now, folks, there's a point to where I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to go into the political and what people believe. So Hercules, and again, I asked you before we even started that I wanted you to say something before we started this portion of the discussion. One step at a time. So I want you to walk through, and again, you, me, and Tiger are all medical, so we understand process improvement. We understand that piece of it. But what I want you to talk about is why one step at a time, and why you feel that things are either good or bad in this situation, what's happening. I do want to be very clear with folks in chat. Please drop the political aspect. I want to have logical conversation about metals, Bitcoin, money, not geopolitics. I don't want to go that route. Okay. And the only reason I don't want to go that route is because it's so hot right now and we just don't have the answers. If we had answers and we could answer those tough questions, I would love to go there, but we just don't have them. None of us, none of us today do. And so I don't want to get into hyperbole. I don't want to get into assumption. I want to speak on the things that we know. So Hercules, can you talk a little bit about that one step at a time and why that strategy is so important for you?
Sure. I mean, we don't want to get into what's happening politically. You don't want me to go
We do, but I don't want to go down the political avenues.
Let me just give the context of what me and Frosty were talking about.
Thanks, brother.
What other side you do? We were talking about the Iran situation, and we kind of were like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is this where's this going to lead? What happens next? Is it going to, all those questions? And what started this was I simply said, look, you had a regime in there that was not good for the world, was not good for the people of Persia. And the step we took, I feel, was one step in the right direction. What we do next, we'll see. But what I like to do is make one small move and then assess, am I better or worse? Is this better or worse? If it's worse, you can always take that one step back and reassess. If it's better, great. Now you look to make that next step. But so many people look for that end result, which is great to have that long-term goal or that long-term thing. But sometimes if that's all you're looking at, you never take the first step because you just get paralysis from analysis of how to get there, what to do. And sometimes you just got to make a step in a direction and then assess that step, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And if it's a good thing, good, then make the next step and walk towards that goal. But you take it one step at a time so that each move you make You can assess, and if you need to reverse course, you reverse course. So
And
that's kind of what we're talking about.
So Tiger, ER doc, when you would assess somebody, you would perform a test, you would check your labs, and then would you immediately start diagnosing them, or would you wait until your labs came in?
Well, you go in, let's start this way. About 80% on average of diagnosis made by history. Another 10 to 15% is made on physical exam, and the rest is made up by studies. A lot of people think that it's only the labs, the this, the that. No, you're starting to formulate the what we call the differential diagnosis, which means it could be this, it might be that, it could be that, it might be this type of mentality. And you go in there, you base your studies based upon what is in your differential diagnosis and physical exam.
Okay, so let's just stop there, because now I want to tie everybody to why what we're talking about matters. If you implement, everybody does this at their work in some fashion or another. You have some level of action, reaction, assessment, action, reaction, assessment, action. There is this trio of plan, do, act. It's a process that we use. It's called the PDA cycle. It doesn't matter if you do this in your professional lives, if you do this in your personal lives, but you should be doing it in your financial lives. Okay? And a lot of people have a problem with this concept. They really don't grasp this concept, but every one of you does it every day in one fashion or another. This is why one strategy does not work. You have to cultivate your own, and you have to slow the hell down. Take time. Allow things to formulate. Allow things to happen. Because if you move too fast, in Tiger's case, he's an ER, if he moves too quick, he could give somebody something that could harm the patient. In the world that I am at, if I do an assessment and I make a direction and I consult leadership that says we're going to move this way, I could direct a hospital towards providing care that was not safe. So I have to be very careful in making suggestions or strategies. And in the world you were at, Hercules, as being a director, you had the very same thing. You had to make sure that somebody implemented something. You tested it, you did your pilot, you reviewed it, you come back, you check the data, and then you go back.
Right.
But your strategy has to be fluid. And that's what Invisible said. One strategy never works. You have to cultivate multiple strategies, but you have to choose the one that works best for you. Are you guys familiar with the triangle of fast, quick, and inexpensive?
No.
Okay, so this is great. So when you're talking, Invisible says it's a team. When you're creating something, you can only have two of the triad. Okay? And I want you to think about this logically. Okay? So we'll take it from a collector standpoint, so that there's a lot of collectors in here, and then we'll move it to actually, you know what? We'll do a collecting stackable, like my George Washington there. Okay? I'll make this like this right here. See this right here? The George Washington guy. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. This is a collectible piece. It's 1 ounce silver. It is a coin. Okay? Now, I can buy this at good quality, and I can do it quickly, but it's going to cost me a lot of money. Now, I can save money by buying generic, and I can get the generic quick, but it may not be of the highest quality. And I can get things that are great quality, and I can get them that are fairly inexpensive, but it's going to take some time to do it. So you have to understand that no matter what segment you choose from, you're going to lose one of your three options. And when you understand that, you can determine, hey, my barrier is finance. I don't make a lot of money. I've got to be careful how much money I spend. I don't want to go into debt to stack or to collect. So for you, it's got to be expensive. So you're going to have to either sacrifice on when you get it or the quality of that element. The same comes with a plan. When you're creating a plan, if you understand the triad, you will start making plans that make sense for you. You can't have all three. There's a statement, you can eat your cake, or you can have your cake and eat it too. Remember that one?
Yep.
Hercules or Tiger, you remember that phrase?
Oh, yeah.
You guys know that that's wrong?
Correct. You can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, but you just can't eat your cake and have it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, you can, because if it's in your belly, you have it.
Oh, come on. No, you can't do it. So it's an impossibility, right? And so again, we talk about this a lot. Words matter. But I want to go back to what he said at the beginning of this intro, the beginning of this segment. Okay. As a person who is trying to offset, as an insurance policy, offset the stave of our financial structure, the fiat system that we have failing, losing value, right? The hedge against inflation. We talk about this. Which one of those triads is he going to have to bypass? And so if you start thinking about which one I'm going to sacrifice, you can determine, well, that doesn't work for me. And then you find your other one. The Schrodinger cat. Yeah, that's perfect. But that is the concept. That is something that you actually have to think about, because there are orders of merit of things that happen if you make decisions too quickly. Secondary and tertiary orders of effect. Okay. You make an effect and it has an initial one, but there's also a second and third level of things that are affected by this. So make your plans, make your simple strategy. This is why what Hercules said was so important. Okay. Do one thing. See if it works. If it works, do it again. If it works, do it again. If it works, put that on repeat and up your ante. Does it work? Yes. Does it work? No. Why didn't it work that time? Was it a fluke? Run the test one more time. You never want to stop on an N of 1 ever. Keep going, right? Trial, it doesn't matter if you're talking clinical trials or whatever. Never stop at an N of 1. Document it, track it, follow it. What happened in this particular case in the term of medical were the comorbidities that were engaged? And then run it again. Did it work? Yes. Did it work? Yes. Did it work? Yes. Did it work? Yes. That was a fluke. Copy that, up your ante. One step at a time, because when you do one step at a time, as Hercules said earlier, you know exactly where to step back to. If you move too quickly, now you don't know where your return point is. And that's where a lot of people get into trouble. And so take it slowly. Take it slowly. Better to be a wolf everyone hates than a donkey everyone rides. I would say something derogatory, but I'm going to stop because my filter's running today.
Good coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what my ex was. Just kidding. Rinse and repeat. Yes, John Goldsworthy. That's exactly right. And again, I kind of wanted to break this out because what Hercules said is exactly the direction that this channel is going in. I want to take it slow. I want to get back to brass tacks as it is, and really give you guys stuff that helps. This is why somewhere near the beginning of that stream, I asked you guys if this stuff makes sense to you. Share it out. Share it with 2 family members, a friend, family member, whatever it might be. And let's grow this channel, because here's what I want. I want discussion. Tiger and Hercules came on. They've never met each other. There were a couple great questions, a lot of amazing discussion that all of you got to participate in. Imagine if we had 500 people or 1,000 people in this chat. The amount of ideas, positive and negative, the discussion that we could have. We would start to see trends. We would start to see patterns in our community. We would be able to identify certain. So track that, understand that, because it's important, because we are no better than the community that we serve. So surround yourself with good people. Let's grow this channel. And tigers. And Hercules needs one, so he's got some work.
I'll just come on your guys.
That didn't sound right. Rephrase that, brother.
When needed.
No, I appreciate you being here. Again, you guys, Hercules is a great guy, very knowledgeable. Let's head towards that geopolitical. Let's go to what's happening in Mexico. You guys tracking that? What does that mean for silver?
It's looking not so good. I got it on pretty decent authority that the reason Vizsla Silver's market shares went down in price is because the cartel went in and kidnapped and knocked off quite a few workers for that company. I have some Vizsla Silver, and I noticed that happened, and I got wind of that. It's very scary. What was I found on another channel was a leading cartel member was killed, and the cartel decided to take it out on the whole rest of the country. So that you would think that anything with war would increase the value of the silver, but being that it's right there, right then, makes you wonder if the cartels are going to try to take it over and therefore control. So I think that might be, and that's just my speculation, might be the reason why the actual shares went down when other shares in silver went up.
Hercules, what do you think is going to happen if Mexico decides to take the silver mines and stuff over as part of the state like they did with oil?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's all, again, it's that counterparty risk, the unknowns, the holes of who can control what and who can stop what. It's a question, right? I mean, it's something that you have to worry about, think about. So I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, I still think overall, no matter what happens in Mexico, silver overall is going to go up because it's a safe haven. It's a hard asset. It's limited in supply. It's not easy to mine, and I think overall it'll go up. But it's again, you know, I hate to say this because I feel like I'm promoting Bitcoin, but it's just one of those things where it shows me some of the flaws, which makes me want to diversify into something that doesn't have those flaws.
Tiger, what are your thoughts on the silver in Mexico being taken over by the state?
Well, anytime a government takes over stuff, things don't go quite so right. I'm more of a believer in private industry and capitalism. When governments take things over, they mess things up.
Facts.
Because what's that?
I said facts right there.
Politicians are not businessmen, except for the ones who's president right now. They don't know how to handle business. They try to handle business like they handle politics. It's the round peg trying to fit into the square hole. So things are going to become more inefficient and therefore more costly. which could affect what's going to be the overall price of silver for those buying it. So I would think that you would have more expense and less product coming out. That's just my general observation for watching what governments do when they take over stuff.
Well, I appreciate that, Tiger. I just threw out 5 additional memberships. Again, thank you guys for all the support. Ghostnight CT, Mega Silver Stacker, Ronald Smith, Silver Selling Machine, and Abandoned and Forgotten Whales. Congratulations on getting those. Folks, I appreciate you all being here. Do me a favor, please smash the thumbs up for our 2 guests. So as we kind of wrap up, again, we have the Coin Show podcast. The Coin Show podcast is coming up here. I moved that. That is not. I want to. Are you guys, Mike? Are you guys going live? I don't see the live today. I thought it's the same one, but I just tried to pull the link and I don't have it. Let me know if you guys are going live. So I want to end with some words of wisdom from both sides. So we'll start with Tiger. What if you could give one piece of advice to the people who are watching right now, what would it be?
Don't get involved in anything you don't really quite so understand. I went into Bitcoin as a experiment, which didn't fail me, but didn't do well. I'm planning now on listening to Hercules talk a little bit more. Maybe I'll reevaluate and try it again. But do what you understand, and don't go into things you don't understand, because you might really lose your shirt.
Well, and that's words of wisdom. And again, folks, Hercules isn't here to pimp or push Bitcoin. He's here to help us understand what it is. Have a safe word. Yeah, mine is buy. B-U-I, not B-Y-E. But yeah, it's one of those things that is, again, it's information, right? Knowledge is power. The more information you have, and I said this at the beginning, we're not financial experts. We're not financial advisors. What we are is you're giving you information based off of the many failed attempts that we've made in our histories, and take it for what it's worth. Okay. If you take it as advice, get a second opinion. Okay. Don't rely on the 3 of us alone. Go check with other people. If it rings true to you and there is information, then, hey, subscribe, share, do what you do. If there's something that you don't like. Now, there's somebody in chat, he's not here right now, sent me something. His name's Vincent. You guys know Vincent. Vincent is kind of not so much on board with crypto, and he sent me stuff that says this is why that's the case. I appreciate that. And the reason that I appreciate it is because you want to know just as much about why people don't like it, because it helps you understand where the gaps in your armor are, number one. But it also helps you, and this works for anything. It doesn't matter if you're talking politics, religion, finance, family, work, right? You want to know where the chinks in your armor are, right? And so it's a study, knights of old, right? They would, every facet would be covered, because if you had a chink in the armor, the enemy could exploit it. And so and the enemy in this one is, financial collapse, fiat going bad, geopolitical markets. There's a whole lot of potential issues. Identity theft. I was a victim of that here a couple weeks ago. Somebody tried to spend $50,000 on my debit card. So I had to cancel everything, shift some stuff, and fortunately fraud detection caught it. So have security in place, have backups. And again, it's one of those things that even if you have everything in place, you're not always going to be a winner. Okay. Sometimes you just lose. Sometimes you study, you guess, and you guess wrong. Sometimes it's a matter of minutes. As you and I talked about, looking at the time to sell something, it quite literally could be a matter of minutes. So go back and assess. When you have a fail, don't quit. Don't leave it. Try to understand why you failed, and grow from your mistakes. Grow from those items, and that's how you will be able to grow and adapt. Now, I have a question for chat, real quick. Hercules, what's your plan? Do you have stuff going on, or do you have a little bit more?
No, I got some time. That's okay.
Tiger, what about you?
I'm here with you, dude, but it'd been better if you got me the Starbucks.
With the yeah. Okay. Well, you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. I'm going to send you a gift certificate right now via email, and then you can have it delivered.
No, I'm just messing with you, dude.
If you want to continue a discussion and you want to ask more questions in chat, I want you to put a 1. We can continue this. The Coin Show podcast is not going on because they're in Baltimore. And so if you're in Baltimore or near there, go say hi to the Coin Show podcast. Tell them Frosty sent you. But if you want to chat more about this, put a 1 in chat. If you want to ask more questions, or if you want to just continue the conversation and you want to just ask Hercules or Tiger questions, put a 1 in chat. If you want to wrap it up at 10 o'clock my time and you guys want to just go about your day, then you can do so. Mike Noodle, can I plug an interview this week? You don't even have to ask. Oh, damn. Okay. Paul Hollis is the new U.S. Mint director, and they will be interviewing him at 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. That is cool.
Yeah.
Folks, if you are not subscribed to the Coin Show podcast and you want to understand the direction and the future of the U.S. Mint, go check that out. I'm going to be really curious. I think I'm going to be following up with Mike later on because I have one question that I want to ask. I want to see if they're going to ask it because that's a hell of an interview. Yeah, exactly, exactly, Luther. 10 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Send me the link and I will share that out. I will put it in a bunch of different places because that's really cool. Ask him about the proposed Liberty-shaped bell coin. Yeah, that's a great one. I was looking forward to that one. Haven't seen anything on it either, Paula. I was really looking forward to that coin. So I've only got 4 people that say yes, they want to continue the conversation. Come on, folks, give me some more feedback. Oh, yeah. So Azure said something that says, have a personal conviction that someone is, and someone that is an expert that you trust and be able to discuss those financial matters. Yeah. Again, grow your community. Really, that is important. I'm getting some people say they want to talk a little bit more. So you guys ask questions. I'll ask him about the double dice, Paula. Luther's, I'm here. So Stephen Rose says he's cutting opals while listening. Oh, nice. Neil says he can vote twice. So yeah, let's continue. Feel free to ask any questions. Hercules, is there any part of this that you want to go into more or discuss? Do you want to
Why don't we just see where the questions are? I mean, there's so much to discuss. I could go on forever once I get going, but let's see what people want to know. I don't have an answer for them.
So put your questions in chat. Let's we'll continue this for a little bit longer.
I got a question for you here. What is it that the hot wallet is in the phone and the cold wallet is something that's not electrical that you have to do something with to be able to access your Bitcoin? Or do I got this thing confused?
Yeah, I can touch on that. So first and foremost, when someone says a hot wallet and a cold wallet, wallets are just the software that's on the phone that shows you how much Bitcoin you have, gives you the ability to send the Bitcoin to someone else's address and receive Bitcoin. when you're talking about a hot wallet, remember when you own your Bitcoin, the way you prove your ownership is by that 12 to 24 word phrase. So when I say, let's say I want to send you a Bitcoin, if I take my app, my wallet, and I say, all right, I'm going to send Tiger 1 Bitcoin. I put your address in, I put in 1, and I hit send. It's going to want to, the network's going to say, well, how do I know you own 1 Bitcoin that can be sent there? And so it's going to want to see your key. In a hot wallet, that key is put into the software on your phone. So the key is actually on the phone. So if someone were to grab your phone and was able to hack, they could hack in and find your 12 words, which would give them access to move your Bitcoin. So you have a hot wallet that has, it's secure, but if someone gets your phone, they could hack and get the seed. With a cold wallet, you have the same wallet, but now the seed phrase is not in the phone. It is in a separate device, or you type it in manually. And so when you go to send it, the wallet will say, hey, we need, almost like signing the check, we need your signature with your keys to allow that transfer to take place. So with a cold wallet, what you do is you take another device that's off the internet so that there's no way someone could hack it. And it transfers that seed phrase into a QR code that you scan, and that signs the transaction and sends it off. So that there's no way anyone can hack your seed phrase when it's cold, because it's not stored on the phone. When it's hot, it's stored on the phone. That gives you convenience because you don't have to go get another device or type in your phrase to make the transfer, right? You could just go, boom, send, and the hot wallet automatically signs it for you, and it goes. So the way I look at hot wallets is, think of it like as if you're walking around with regular cash money. If you have if you have $100,000, you're not going to put that in your pocket, right? You're going to put it in your safe, and you're going to put, maybe you're going on vacation or you're going to shop, you take $1,000 with you in your pocket.
Okay.
That is less secure, but it makes it convenient, so you can use it.
Okay.
So that's a hot wallet.
Okay. So
A cold wallet is your storage at home that no one can get to.
So when I used to have some Bitcoin on Robinhood, I'm assuming you're going to tell me that's a hot wallet, because if they
Nope,
got
that's
into
not
my
even,
phone.
that's nothing. That's Robinhood holding your coin and moving it for you.
Okay.
You're basically turning it into like an
It's an
option.
IOU.
You're just it's the exact same thing. And this is why it's important that people understand the physicality of holding your Bitcoin, right? Downloading that to a cold wallet, storing that in a safe place, putting your password in a safe place, and disconnecting that from that digital world, the physical connection to the digital world, because that's the way it stays safe.
Okay.
Right. So I've got some questions in chat. Going to get into it. John's Goldworthy says the breakable Bitcoin is called the Satoshi. That's right. So how do you use it? There's a lot of people. In fact, there was an article that just came out regarding 6 banks that just turned crypto into ways in which they can do transactions. So it's being adopted by the banking industry as well. That's usually, and I think that may have gone back to some of the questions that were asked earlier. Let's see, Wall Street Bitcoin question from 45 minutes ago. Basically, the approval of spot Bitcoin's ETF, making more stable and liquid, also more influenced by macroeconomics. Can you see that question in chat? Hercules? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's asking about the ETFs, correct?
Yeah. So you want to spin up on that?
Sure. Well, if you're a gold guy, you kind of know how this works. If you don't secure your own gold and don't secure your own Bitcoin, and you allow IOUs, ETFs, to be traded, they can make paper gold. And that's what they're trying to do with Bitcoin. They're trying to make it so that the ETFs are paper Bitcoin, which then it destroys the whole concept. It's an IOU. It's with gold, it was understandable to make an ETF because if you're trading gold back and forth, it's a little difficult to move bars of gold to different people and move it around and all that. ETFs made that easier. Well, there is no reason to use a Bitcoin ETF. Because as easy as it is to sign on to Schwab and go and order your ETF, it's just as easy to actually do that and have your own Bitcoin without a third party. It's just people don't understand that yet. So right now, yes, the price is being controlled by Wall Street because of the ETFs. And they will continue to try to manipulate and control like they did with gold and silver for years and years. But as people learn about Bitcoin and realize how easy it is to secure, and once people start securing their own Bitcoin, then that problem will go away over time.
There's another question in here from Emerald Coast Stacker, and I want to answer that, but that needs to be answered at a different time. So the question was, who influenced you all to create your channel, and what do you enjoy listening to? I'm going to table that one, but I think we'll do next Sunday, if you're okay with this. We're going to have Paula, we're going to have Eric. I'll invite a couple other people to see if they can come up. I'd love to see if Mike or Matt or both of them would come on as part of a quick jump in, say hi, and tell us how the Coin Show podcast started, or maybe they can continue and take a small 1 or 2 minute session to answer that question as well. It's a really good question, but I think we need time to be able to do that because it's long and complicated because channels have changed. They've been influenced. The people I watched changed. So I wrote that down, Emerald. It's a great question, but I'm going to table that one for next week if you don't mind. I also want us to go into Azure. Azure says, have Herc talk about countries and cities that use Bitcoin and about how U.S. and other governments are buying them.
Okay. Yeah, there's, adoption is happening. There are, El Salvador, of course, was the first one to make it legal tender and use it. In actuality, I use my Bitcoin. It's not a lot, but wherever I can, I can. I have I get pedicures, believe it or not, and my person takes Bitcoin. There's dentists around here that take Bitcoin. Steak and Shake, it's my favorite burger place, takes Bitcoin. So I use my Bitcoin, even here in the United States. But it is something that is starting to gain some traction around the world. And as far as nation states, again, it's people are diversifying. They have their gold, they have their silver, but they're like, there's an asset, a new digital asset that the world has discovered. It's a decentralized digital money, and there's people, companies, Michael Saylor, countries that are starting to say, maybe I should have some of this. There's only 21 million of them. There's more millionaires in the United States than there are for every millionaire to have one coin. A very, very rare. It's the first time there in human history that we have what's called absolute scarcity. Something that everyone knows how many there are, and it'll never change. Can't be said for anything else. It's digital, and that's hard for some people to wrap their heads around. But there's people, companies, countries that are getting leadership from younger generations, not our generation. I'm a boomer, right? I'm a 61-year-old man. I understood Bitcoin, but our generation isn't. This isn't going to be for our generation, but the generation coming up that basically lives in the digital world. You don't think they're going to use digital money? And there's only two forms of digital money that's going to work: a centrally controlled digital money, which is the CBDC we talked about earlier, or a decentralized money that no one can control, and that's Bitcoin.
So again, Hercules isn't here to push it, but it is
No, I
important to
sound like I'm a
understand.
pusher, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give facts. And like I
Well, no,
said,
but again, I want people to understand this is about information. Information is power, right? And
yep,
Hercules, folks, there's a conversation happening between me and Luther. And he's like, Frosty, it's not a flaw that everybody does the same general pieces of information and topics. I want to be a little bit different. And it's not different in, well, I don't talk about those topics. We actually do. But I don't want to be the fear monger. What I want to do is I want to provide opportunities to where you guys have the information that you need to be able to make assessments that benefit you. This is why I tell you guys, don't use me as the sole source of information. Don't use the panel as the sole source of information and say, oh, well, Frosty seems to have his head screwed on good. I'm just going to follow him. Please don't. Okay. I am human. I am flawed. Cultivate multiple resources, cultivate multiple options. The same thing with finance. And this is what Hercules is talking to us about today. This is a option for you to look at. And if you're going to consider it or not, it's important that you know the facts. He's just here to provide those facts. And if you get that as a premise, then you can take the conversation as it is and remove the agenda, because there's no agenda to this other than education. Institutional ownership of Bitcoin surged to about 14% and growing, giving significant influence over the market movements. Yes, but it also adds validity to it, right? Because big industries are not going to go into something that's fake. It's reaffirming, actually, if you think about it, right? And so are things going to go up and down? Yes. There was an article. Oh, man, I sent you that, Hercules. Who was that? Was it... oh, that guy that said Bitcoin's going to 8,000 and everybody freaked out. Like, how'd you get that number?
yes.
And then it went silent.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then it went silent. There was no more talk about it. So he's like, what were your thoughts about that statement?
Well, like I said, I've been in Bitcoin since 2014, and I've heard Bitcoin's dead over 200 times. And it's still not dead. And if it ain't going to be dead, that means it's going to continue to grow, going to continue to be adopted and used. And like I said, if you're going to go back to technicals a little bit, one thing you can do with a Bitcoin chart, everybody likes to look at the highest prices, which is cool. We are making higher highs every time this cycle happens. But what I like to look at is the lows. And if you go from let's just go the last three cycles. 2017, after the 2017 boom, it hit 10 grand and it dropped to a low of $3,000. The next cycle, it shot up to $69,000 and dropped to $15,000. This cycle, we shot to 126, I think, and now we're finding our low. So those last two lows were 3,000 to 15,000. We're going to see where this low is. Is it going to be where we're at, 60,000? Is it going to be 35,000? Is it going to be 20,000? I don't know, but I'm betting it's going to be a higher low. And then we're going to go into the next cycle. And I think this is what's going to happen over time. It's what's happened since I've been in it. As more and more people see it as a valuable asset to have along with their silver and gold and other assets, I think more and more companies and hedge funds and countries are finding it to be an important part of a portfolio. And as that percentage of that, right now, I think it was, Frosty, I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Citibank or Fidelity. They actually came out with a recommendation of having, I think it was 10% of your portfolio in Bitcoin.
Oh,
See if you can find that. I'm not sure who it was off the top of my head. It was a large facility that came out with that recommendation. It's like, as you start seeing those things pop up, I just don't see it going. Bitcoin's is going to. There's really only two things Bitcoin can do. It's either going to go to zero. It's either a worthless, hopeless endeavor, or it's going to go up tremendously. My bet is it goes up tremendously. I think I told you this before. I like to make the analogy of the airplane and air travel. When the Wright brothers in 1914 made the first plane, do you think anybody was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to be traveling across the globe on planes"? They were like, "Those guys are crazy. That is never going to work." Matter of fact, then in the 1930s they tried. Well, let's try it with Zeppelin. That worked with the Hindenburg. That didn't work out too well. And then over time, people realized once we discovered flight, it was never going to go away. We were going to master it and figure it out. Well, we've discovered decentralized digital money for the first time that isn't controlled by any government or bank. I don't see it going away.
so the recommendation that I saw was from somebody named Rick Edelman. Who that is?
Yeah, he's a finance guy.
But the company that said that your portfolio should be 10% was BlackRock.
Okay, BlackRock.
Which a lot of people are like, oh, but I know a lot of people who invest in BlackRock. But again, yeah, look what the big boys do, right? And follow suit. When you start seeing a lot of people jump into it, again, one of our buddies in chat, Azure, says this comment a lot. The masses are asses. I think that's his dad's statement. If I'm not correct, Azure, correct me. But when a lot of people don't want to do it, it's usually something that you want to be in. And so I think last time we talked Hercules, we talked about the technology adoption curve, right?
Yeah.
And we talked that Bitcoin is in that gap. I wish I had that up, but Bitcoin is in this gap, and it's that area where adoption's not quite happening. It's close. It's gaining momentum. It's gaining speed, and it's about to break. It's about to break through the other side. And when it breaks through that other side, it's going up. But it's just like technology adoption. Your adoption reference of the Wright brothers' cell phones. I mean, my God, when cell phones first came out, the iPad, it was like, or the iPod, or it wasn't even iPod. Who was it that did one of the best ones that was ever done? Was done by Dell, if I'm not mistaken. It was better than Apple's, right? But Apple sold the culture, and that's what people bought into, was the culture. And so when the culture around this leads to that, Bitcoin is going to go up. But again, don't take our word for it. Do your own research. And if you have questions, please do me a favor and continue to ask. We will have Hercules up again if you're up for it, sir.
Yep, whenever you want.
Yeah, I appreciate it. There's a couple other people that I'd like to have up at the same time. That is correct. My father always said, you must be unique and think for yourself because the masses are asses. Yeah, and I thought that was your dad. I would have loved to have met your dad, Azure. Seemed like an amazingly smart and generous man from the stories that he's told me about it. Beta was better than VHS. True fact. That's absolutely true. There were a lot of technologies that weren't adopted that were better than others. And it's because, again, we don't always follow things, or we don't always vote for things that are the best. And you see this in the crypto market, right? With all the fraud. And it's tainted Bitcoin a lot because people have misused it and they've used it for nefarious purposes. Tiger, can you hit mute, please?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's all right. The pooches are getting angry. But yeah, definitely would love to have you back up and talk about other things. And, you know, again, just because you know Bitcoin doesn't mean we necessarily even have to go in that direction. Just your general knowledge and understanding of things. Great. I asked Tiger this before about his thing. I'm going to wrap up asking you one question. And this is something that I've started asking other people. A lot of people, it's really easy for me to ask you, you know, what do you do? What do you want to do? What do you think about this? But if you were to present who you are or a piece of information to anybody, what would Hercules want us to know?
A piece of information about me?
Or about investing, about whatever. What is the one thing that you've gleaned in your life that is a piece that you would like everybody to know?
Keep searching for more information. Keep learning. You never learn enough. There's so much out there that I still don't know. And don't be afraid to dive in and research something and get to know it, even if it's out of your comfort zone, because it might open your eyes to a lot of things.
That's brilliant. The one that I always tell people in that regard, and again, our bottom line is kind of close to being the same, is act, don't react. In order to act, you have to train yourself. We talk about the military and why they can respond so quickly. They train to it. They seek out variables. They know what they have to do. Have you ever watched a gymnast or a skater or a bobsledder? The Olympics just ended not too long ago. And they're sitting there on a bench and they're going through their routine. They have their eyes closed and they're moving and they're shifting and they're turning and they put their hands up and they're making the motions. They're mentally going through that process, right? Practice that. Go through your process. Know what it is. Know what it means to practice that. And when the time comes, when those problems occur, it will be a muscle, a reflex. You will just naturally do it. And so act. Reaction is emotional. FOMO, fear, the good salesman, the con. Silver and gold don't go on sale. So you're not going to find a $100 piece of silver for $29.99. Okay? Slow down. Do what Hercules said earlier. Step by step. Jack Young, my brother from another counterfeit mother, I appreciate you being here. Folks, for those of you that know Jack, he does a lot of great stuff for our community, has some really cool opportunities. We'll talk more about that on another. But I appreciate you, Jack. And again, surround yourself. Community is important. It really is. And if you grow your community with people who have differing points of view, you're going to grow as a person. Iron sharpens iron. A knife has never been sharpened by cutting bread. All right, folks. Hey, Hercules, as always, brother, I appreciate you. May the laser lies live on. Tiger, Bud, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming up. It was fairly short notice.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing the videos. Again, Tiger is my partner in crime when it comes to Stack Collector. The next Stack Collector is tomorrow evening. Do you guys know Silver Dragons? If you do, he's going to be on Tiger's channel tomorrow. So go over to Tiger Stackers, hit that subscribe, go over to live streams, hit that notification. Make sure you turn that on. Going to be a great conversation. Not your typical interview. We've got some really good questions framed for Silver Dragons. It's going to be a great one. Come over, join us. Make sure you subscribe to Tiger Stacker. Hercules, looking forward to having you up again next time. Coin Show podcast isn't today, but it will be next week, I believe. Look for that interview. Paul Hollis, Wednesday at the Coin Show podcast. Go check it out. Herc is amazing, as you're appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Nice seeing you.
Yep. Take care of yourselves. Folks, I appreciate you. Be well, be blessed. And remember, a dad joke isn't a dad joke unless it's a parent.
Oh.